My name is Vanessa Joseph, and I humbly serve as the chairwoman of the Haitian-American Voter Empowerment Coalition, or HAV. As the daughter of Haitian immigrants, my love for Haitian culture goes well beyond the food, the music, and the language. Just like many of you, I am proud of Haiti's history. I am proud that we were the first independent Black nation, and I am proud that we were the first nation to abolish slavery. Certainly, this was not an easy feat given that our ancestors came from different African tribes, but they genuinely believed that l'union fait la force, and they put aside their differences and focused on a singular essential right, freedom and liberty for all. Today, as a community, we must return to this mindset. We need l'union. Nous besoin l'union plus passer tout l'autre bagay jodi. Our shared interests must come before our differences. It is said that in politics, there can be no permanent enemies, no permanent friends, but only permanent interests. No matter what your party affiliation, your religious beliefs, where you come from, and where you live, we are calling upon you to join in this movement. For far too long, our votes have been fragmented and therefore diluted. Yes, our votes have mattered, but they have not leveraged tangible results for the Haitian community. That is why I am proud to invite you to join the Haitian-American Voter Empowerment Coalition as we work together to carry this movement forward. HAV is the result of a consensus building amongst a myriad of local and national organizations and individuals determined to ensure that the Haitian electorate is informed, empowered, and engaged, and that the votes of the Haitian electorate are valued. There are many ways in which you can work with HAV, and we need community champions across the United States and abroad who can help to motivate Haitian American voters within your locality. But if you don't have much time to volunteer, then we urge you to consider making a contribution to HAV. Of course, politics are expensive, but if each of us makes a small sacrifice and financially contributes to the cause, we can make a significant impact on the upcoming elections and future elections. While we are living in very challenging times as a result of the pandemic, we cannot allow it to distract us from continuing to fight for the causes that matter to us most. After all, bay piti pa chiche, et me en pile chay palou. Change is always possible, but it is up to each generation, each and every single one of us to make it happen. I hope our generation does not only wish to change the status quo, but that we really work to make it happen. Our generational task now is to repeat our ancestors' footprints and their models. L'union fait la force. That being said, I invite you to visit our website at www.havcoalition.org to make your contribution or sign up to join this coalition, our coalition. I thank you so much for your consideration.
And your commitment to moving our community forward.
Well. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session of the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals, NAAHP Candidate Symposium. My name is Vanessa Joseph, and once again, I am the chairwoman of Haitian-American Voters Empowerment, or HAV, Coalition. It is my pleasure to be your moderator for this evening. We know that we are in the thick of election season, and 2020 has been a little less than easy on all of us. Nevertheless, we know that we cannot neglect our civic duty or be complacent because our brothers and sisters are actually on the ballots. And with the challenges presented by COVID-19, we have to seize this moment and ensure that we take advantage of every opportunity that we have to make our voices heard and exercise our right to vote. I want to applaud our guest today, who are all candidates who are taking the leap of faith, braving the storm, literally, and running for office in these very unique and very challenging times. But I know that when you're truly committed to your community, anything is possible. And it is with that heart and that passion that you come into this. And so I thank you all for your time. I'm so grateful that you all took the time to be here with us. And I want to remind everyone that's watching that neither NAAHP nor HAVE actually endorses any of the candidates, but we only seek to provide a platform for individuals that you may see on your ballots. And so this panel is for you. And I encourage you to please feel free to ask any questions that you may have as we go along, and we will be sure to ask them. So before we jump into the conversation, I would like for each of you to introduce yourselves to our viewers and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're running for. Today, we'll go ahead and start at the top of the alphabet, and we will go ahead and start with you, Aniece Germain.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, and thank you to all other people with you with this organization to move Haitian forward. I appreciate it when I saw this organization. You're doing a tremendous work, and thank you for lift up our nation, lift up our Haitian. That's wonderful. So my name is Aniece Germain. I live in Rhode Island, Cranston. This is my 11 years since I've been living in the United States. So I was born and raised in Haiti, in the rural area, Grand Guave. So I am not a city girl, I'm a rural girl. So all my childhood in Grand Guave, Haiti. So I am a mother. I have 3 beautiful boys, 10 years old, 5, and 8. I'm running for city council, and I was appointed in July as the city council, but I'm running for election in November. So this is a little bit about me. Moving forward, if you want to talk about my education and all of that, so this is all.
Yeah, so I just want to give a shout out to the people from the South, because we know we do it best down there. So next, I will take Kassandra.
First and foremost, thank you, NAAHP and HAVE, for hosting this forum tonight. I am a young Haitian professional who is seeking advancement in my community, and it is through these platforms that I am able to reach further in this race. So good evening, everyone. My name is Kassandra Timothe, and I'm running for North Miami City Council, District 2, on Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. I started the race, I got in there early, so I'm starting early. So I served the city of North Miami for over 5 years as the city spokesperson, and now I'm running to be the face of the city, starting in North Miami District 2. And thank you again, Madam Clerk, Avocado, North Miami, Vanessa Joseph, for having me here tonight.
I just really want to re-emphasize on the record, as North Miami's elected city clerk, I am not endorsing any candidates in this race. Thank you so much, Kassandra. Stephanie, let's go on to you, Ms. Stephanie Thomas.
Yes, thank you for having me on this platform. I appreciate NAAHP for having me on this platform. This is a perfect opportunity to actually engage with our community and to share our vision and our mission as future elected officials, right? So my name is Stephanie Thomas. I am a Haitian descent. My parents are both from Haiti, and they migrated here in 1970, 75, I think. And I have lived in the city of Miami since then. My parents have always taught me to work hard and always give back. So I have a real public servant heart and aspiration, and always trying to help people. And I always get in trouble for it, but that's okay. It's always good, right? So I'm so happy to be able to extend myself to my community to run for office for the city of Miami District 5 seat. It's a very dynamic community. It's a very diverse community. At this time, we just received notice that someone will be appointed to the seat November 18th. And I am looking forward to being that person, and I claim it. And we're not sure if we're going to have a special election yet after November 18th, but my election is slated to happen next year, November 3rd, 2021. Thank you again.
Awesome, thank you. And finally, Erncy Dumornay.
Hello, how are you? I am Erncy Dumornay. I am super excited to be here. Like as you can see, I've been smiling the whole time. My cheeks are going to be hurting. I love to see us as Haitian professionals being highlighted because we're most commonly known as laborers, but we are professionals and we are the best kept hidden secret in the United States, I believe. And I think forums like this give us an opportunity to be highlighted. So I really appreciate everyone being here, and I really appreciate this platform. Again, my name is Erncy Dumornay. I'm running for City of Sunrise Commission Seat D in this year's November 3rd election. Hopefully, I'd like to have the opportunity to earn all of my Haitian people's votes in the City of Sunrise and everyone's vote in the City of Sunrise. But most importantly, I've realized how important diversity in background, perspective, and experience is extremely important to really serve our folks the right way. So that's one of the reasons why I'm running. So I'd like for everybody to take a little opportunity to learn a little bit about me and visit my website, which is www.dumornay.org. A little bit about my background. Just like most Haitians, we initially migrated to Brooklyn, New York, and then came down to South Florida. And I have to be honest with you, South Florida has created great opportunities for us. We've learned a lot, and we've been able to grow. And I'm really excited to see how we grow as professionals culturally. And I love forums like this, again, because now we're giving it back to our people. I've been, kind of in the background most of my life, in a sense. So I've helped a lot of our folks from employment opportunities and not using things like susu. We know that. So it's how to save and teach them financial literacy. But again, I'm really excited to be here because this is home to me, and this makes me feel a little bit warm. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't care how financially literate we are. We're always going to do the susu. We're going to do susu and a susu. So you could do what you want, but okay, we're still going to do it. So on these panels, we typically ask our panelists to describe the role of the office that they seek. In this case, it would kind of be redundant because you are all running for local seats within a municipality. So let's expound on it a little bit, right? And maybe let's talk about why it was important for you to run at the local level, how you see yourself impacting your community, but specifically tell us about your vision for service to the Haitian and Haitian-American communities within your respective regions. So let's start with you, Erncy.
So, I talked about this before, or I said this earlier, typically our community is typically overlooked, right? And I live in an 18-mile city, and having to engage with my community and thinking about what are the challenges they're going to face. COVID has impacted us greatly. Why? Because some of us are laborers, right? And some of those businesses have been impacted significantly. So looking at our local municipality and realizing what services we offer, I thought about this and I said, hey, how are we really helping a different segment of our community? How are we helping the minorities in our community? And I know our commission is trying to do a good job, but relatability is important, and having those experiences and being from that background is important as well to understand how to really engage and support them. So I talked before about a small business minority preference program. And that's extremely important for us as Haitians because a lot of Haitians want to do what? Start businesses. If we have minority business preference programs, we can give them the opportunity to earn vendor contracts, which can give them the economic viability that they need to help sustain their businesses and get them back to full employment. A lot of these dollars are really already being circulated, and these are our tax dollars. Why not reinvest in our community, specifically in the areas that are going to be more severely impacted? Specifically because our communities are typically the most communities that are targeted for what? Gentrification. Large investors come and buy these properties for pennies on a dollar. And I'd like to avoid that by what? Helping take pride in home ownership and creating economic viability for our community and employment opportunities. That's extremely important. And not just that, educational opportunities. Typically, the schools in our community are not the highest rated. And it's not just because of funding, it's because of the resources that we allocate towards those areas of the community. So I'd like to be a champion and make sure that we allocate the appropriate resources and education in our communities as well.
All right. So next up, and I just want to, remind everyone of the question. It was kind of long. And so basically we're talking about why a local office was important to you. how you see yourself impacting the community and specifically the Haitian and Haitian Americans in your constituency. So, Stephanie, you're next.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Well, in our community, like I said earlier, it's a very diverse community, and it's a very, I would say, it's a the community has changed a lot in the past 6 to 7 years. So our district has now gained another part of the city, which is the east side of this game. And that community is, this is the first time we'll actually be voting into our district. So one of the things I noticed in our district is that there's a lot of gentrification happening, and right now, as it is, there's nothing we can do, but we can actually try to sustain what we have right now by bringing in, economic development. We do have two major developments that are coming here, and I would hate to see that, everybody is gone in our district, and that is something that I'm trying to work, and I would work with other resources and with these developers as well. Not only bringing economic development, but also we have a lot of foreclosures. People have homes and they don't know how to keep their homes and sustain their homes. So sharing the information about the resources that the city can provide, I think is very helpful to help maintain their homes and also create awareness and education for them. The other thing I would also like to do for students, we have to encourage them to become business owners. So I would like to, in my first year as a commissioner, offer maybe a business tax receipt to them for a year, just to start up their businesses. So it is a startup process for them. And also, go to the schools to help them understand the civic engagement that we all should be doing with all our students and all our children. So that's my first role as an elected official.
Awesome. Aniece?
How I see myself impacting my community. Where I live, we have a growing demographic. Unfortunately, the way the system is built, they don't see us. And in my community, we have Haitian, Latinos, but we have a dominant white people. So I am for all the communities. So I don't have a majority of Haitian communities. So I am wanting to represent all those people who are unheard and to have their representation. Because in politics, when people decide for you, you're not represented. You don't know what you need. They don't know really the needs we have. And one thing that got me involved is the inequities existing in the school system. And for too long, they think everything is perfect. And we are in a one city where you see the inequities and you see there is two worlds in the same city. So my role will be to make sure that we are one city and every child, whether you are in West or whether you are in East, we have the same equal access to quality education and funding, equitable funding for education. So that's my fight for my community. And education is the key. If you don't have a great foundation, you don't have equal access, you don't have a great start, you cannot talk about a great success in life. You cannot adult success start from the bottom up. So if you don't have a great foundation, you don't have a great education, you cannot talk about success in life. And to to prepare our children for success, we need to start to giving them a quality education. So my role will be to really impact in ways to see how we can ensure quality education. I mean it because we have education, but do we have quality education? We still have the leftover. We don't have resources we need. We don't have enough teachers. We don't have mental health. In this COVID crisis, we see how important resources are for our communities, and mostly where we have a community that is vulnerable, and that's where you have the impact how the inequities, blatant inequities, and everybody sees. So my role will be to ensure our people, Latinos, Haitian, white people, poor people, we all have a fair chance, a fair shot.
Awesome. Thank you. Kassandra?
So for me, of course, I'm a long life North Miami resident. I live here. I went to school here. I went to church here. So I know a lot about the city. So I think my primary focus on how I can impact my community is to listen. So as PIO, all I did was talk. I was putting out information to the residents that they needed, the information that they care about. So I know all about the city. I know the media and the flyers that I'm constantly putting out. So I want to hear from the residents what they want me to achieve as their councilwoman. See, I have the same hope as many residents in North Miami who lived here all their life. I want a safe and cleaner Nomi. We want clean canals. We want transparent, accessible, and a fiscally responsible government, social service activities, community enrichment activities. But right now, I think we all want to get back to normal, enjoying our parks, being able to embrace our family members. But that's going to take some time because we don't know when a vaccine will be ready. So I think right now our community is being impacted in a way that we could have never imagined. No one saw COVID-19 coming. And I feel like we're going to be fighting this COVID fight for some years now. So I think some of our needs and our want that we thought we would want for our community right now, they're going to change because of COVID-19.
Absolutely. That's a very good point that you made. So let's get into the next question. And, sometimes we don't aspire to that which like we have not been exposed, right? So if I never saw an attorney, maybe I would not be an attorney today, right? Or maybe there's a little girl out there who dreams of being a doctor because yesterday a doctor came and spoke to her class or via Zoom, right? But sometimes we really dream big and we see ourselves in places where our ancestors would have never imagined us arriving to when they first pulled up, either on the shores or by plane. However they arrived, they just would have never imagined that like we would be who we are today, right? And that goes across the board. That doesn't mean that you're a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. I mean, the ways in which we have impacted our communities is probably far beyond the impact that anyone had thinking about when they were coming to the shores of America, right, to the land of the free. And so tell us, what inspired you to run for office? And we'll start with Stephanie.
Whoa, so let's see here. What inspired me? There are so many things in my life that has impacted me in my life that I feel that I need to share with others. And I've noticed there's such a need in our community. I've spoken to many, neighbors and public officials and people that have been mentors in my life. And one of them is my father. He has always spoken about politics. And I think he did it on purpose so that I can instill it and engage in conversation with him. And 20 years later, I never thought I would run for office. So with all the knowledge and the wisdom that he's instilled in me and all the experiences that I have had as a public servant, I see that there are needs in the community. And being quiet and in the background is not enough for me anymore. I really need to voice out my opinion and speak for the people who really deserve to be heard, and I can speak on their behalf. And it's important for me to sit at the table to make those stands. And that's what inspired me. And because, like I said before, I am a true public servant at heart. So those are the things, the qualities that I have.
Thank you. Erncy?
I'm going to try not to get emotional about this, but
I know I almost did too.
Yeah, I mean, so, growing up, we always try to find a way to pay it back. And I'm a first generation American. So, I grew up watching my grandmother and my mother, as they started creating some economic success in themselves, they always did, marchandises. So they'll take everything back and bring it back to the country in a home island. And even here, I never really agreed with my mother doing this, but she'd always give people money. I thought it was more important, and as I've grown older, is to teach people how to fish. And, unfortunately, I lost my mother in 2017, and she would be the most proud of me at this point, because I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to get into public office, but I came to the realization, not only the things that are going on in our country, what's going on in our community, we are forgotten a lot. And I think there's a reality is that when we are doing well, we have an obligation to help our communities and pay it forward. And that's what I'm looking to do now is I want to pay it forward and I want to help my community. I've learned a lot. And the things that I've learned, I want to help teach my community. I want to help them create the same success and economic viability for themselves. At some point, it goes beyond the things that we can accomplish for ourselves. It's the legacy that we leave behind. When my mother passed away, there were hundreds of people that reached out and wanted to show up to her funeral. And when I look back, I thought about that. I was like, as much as I disagreed with some of the ways that she took care of people with just giving them money, it's a legacy that she left behind and the respect that she had. And although I'm still young, I'm only 34 years old, I want to leave a great legacy for my community, my family, and I want to help everyone be successful here. I've been fortunate to have success early on in my life, and I know that it's not forever. So what is going to be forever is the legacy that I leave behind and how I impact those around me. And I want to leave the same impact that my mother left, my grandmother left, and my family has left, and I think that I can do that. And I've learned, I could always learn more, but I've learned a lot, and I need to pay that forward to my community and support my community. One of the things, I'm self-funded most of my campaign, and not only that, most of the salary that I'm going to be receiving from the city, if I'm afforded the opportunity to be elected, I'm going to reinvest into our community by way of giving those contributions to the local nonprofits. So I'm really, really excited about trying to help the community and elevating our community and showing them ways to become better professionals, better residents, and take pride in living in the city of Sunrise.
Thank you. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I didn't intend to have a tearjerker question. I probably teed that up. I teed that up poorly.
You did.
Definitely, your vulnerability and your story, we truly appreciate you sharing that. You didn't have to, but I think it definitely resonates with a lot of people. So let's go ahead and have Kassandra next.
And kind of like Erncy, I don't want to get emotional too, but my father, I'm sorry, and sorry for your loss. And I'm like, trust me, I know what it feels like to lose a loved one, because my dad died on May 11, 2008, a day after my prom. And on May 11, 2021, I want to honor his legacy by becoming North Miami's next councilwoman. So this is something that it's hitting home for all of us. And I think when John Lewis died this year, and to know that he started at 23, and I'm over here thinking, wait a minute, let me wait till I'm like 35, 40. And this man started at 23. So I'm like, you know what, Kassandra, it's time to get in some good trouble. And my inspiration for running for office comes from experiences. So I remember being in Tallahassee and hearing senators debate over how much financial aid should students receive. And one senator said straight up out of his mouth, so they can buy rims and gold teeth. And I'm like, really? And then I remember the debate over Stand Your Ground and the Trayvon Martin incident and the hurt that I felt because a law was passed that left a family burying their 17-year-old son. And it's there that I realized the only way to effect change is to be the change. See, I always wanted to be an attorney since I was in the third grade. My dad knew Kassandra was going to be an attorney. He had my trust fund set up, and I was like, I thought I wanted to be the attorney to defend the law, but I realized the real power comes from being an elected official who creates the law. And I knew from then that I would run for office one day. And the tears that I cried in 2012 when the Trayvon Martin incident happened, and I am in Tallahassee, seeing the gun lobbyists walk up and down saying, no, we're justified. And every year we witness lives taken too soon. It should not go in vain. And the 200,000 plus lives that was taken due to COVID-19 this year should not go in vain. So a change must come, and it takes real leaders who must arise from the ashes of 2020. You see, some people become a public servant. I can honestly say I was born a public servant. It's not something you do; it's who you are, and it's ingrained in you, and it's ingrained in you.
Woo! I get the tissue. Should have gotten the tissue over here. I'm getting emotional, y'all. I'm getting emotional. Aniece.
Wow. Follow that. So I was involved since I was in Haiti. And one of my mentors is Marie-Laurence Jocelyn Latseg. I was working at the Ministry of Women Condition in Haiti with her. She was my mentor. And I watch her and her passion, how she wants to always there to defend women's rights. And that's instilling me this uh, thirst for justice, for equality, for equity. So when I left Haiti and come here, it just like was a stop. So coming in the United States, not speaking English, it's like I took a pause to start doing what I was doing in Haiti, like defend women's rights. So that's why in 2016, my husband and I and a couple of friends, we founded a non-profit organization, Hope and Change for Haiti, where we focus on women's rights, immigrants' rights in Rhode Island. So, and as well, where we help people in Haiti, children in Haiti, pay education for them, tuition for them. But my advocacy here toward women's rights, immigrants' rights, social justice. So I've been engaged for a long time. I didn't even plan to run this year because I've been there. I've been to the State House, testify. I go to Washington, D.C. into demonstration. So all the big demonstration when we have in D.C. 2018, I was there. So I've been involved in the community. And I didn't plan to run, but when my city council resigned, and all people in the city, like I really engaged in the city, so all the city council called me. They say, Aniece, this is for you. It's time. And I realized we really, as you said, if you want to see the change, you have to be the change because we've been advocating people. They don't represent us. Our interest is not their interest. So if you're not at the table, you are at the menu. So that's why I said, okay, I've been there, I've been engaged, and I have so many encouragement to say, hey, this is your time, take it. And I say, okay, I'm going for it. But I've been engaged since I was in Haiti in the fight for social justice, equity, equality. So I have to thank my mentor. Maglo was just an asset. He's my inspiration.
That's beautiful. So you all kind of referenced it in other questions, but I do really want to kind of center it back to this because it is a Haitian and Haitian-American platform. So I think a lot of people would actually be interested to know about your relationship with Haiti. And also, while you're talking to us about your relationship with Haiti, if you could also talk to us about your involvement with the Haitian and Haitian-American community right here in the U.S. So we'll go ahead and start with Kassandra.
So a lot of people don't know this about me, but Creole was my first language. Although I don't speak it, my Creole is a little funny now. But I actually lived in Haiti for 2 years, and I was there. I lived in Port-au-Prince with my mom and my dad, and we tend to go back every year ever since then. So Haiti is part of me. It's where I grew up. It's my first language. It's something that I tell my niece, I'm like, I can't wait to take you to Haiti. So it is definitely home. Me and my mom, we travel back and forth every year because we still have businesses in Haiti. My dad had a boat that used to travel back and forth. So Haiti is what got us here, of course. So having two parents who are of Haitian immigrant, of course, my dad passed away in 2008, but he still lives in my heart every single day. And then I worked for the city of North Miami, one of the largest concentration of Haitian Americans in the state of Florida, if not in the United States. Yeah. So I live, breathe, eat Haitian culture. So it is something that, like I said, it's who I am. It's who I represent. I am so excited to be home, to have worked in the city for so long, to have, of course, interacted with so many different Haitian organizations I didn't even know existed because I was in Tampa for 7 years. So it is definitely, I'm just so happy and prideful, of course, to see my people. I even have on my little Haitian pin on tonight. So it is definitely who I am. I love my culture. Come on now.
Aniece?
Oh, I am, born and raised, go to school in Haiti. So as I said, this year is my 11 years. So speak Creole French. Actually, I'm a teacher. I teach French in a high school here. So my Creole at home, I speak Creole with my mom, my dad, and my connection in Haiti. As I said, in 2016, we create an organization to work with people in rural Haiti, particularly in Payan, where we build houses for people impacted by the Hurricane Matthew, last hurricane. It devastated the south of the Haitian, the peninsula. So we work with local organization down there. So we are well connected. We send money. We send for children to go to school every year. We send, like, we have a program with the organization to provide school supplies for those children. Unfortunately, this year we couldn't do it because of COVID. So we couldn't have the money to do it, because we do every year a gala fundraiser here to raise money to pay for those children. Unfortunately, this year that wasn't working. So our connection in Haiti, it's really deep, because our organization, we have two focus. One in Haiti, community development, where we build housing for people who lost their house, everything at the hurricane, and pay tuition for children to go to school. That's our program. So you can visit our website, Hope and Change for Haiti, and you can see all the work we've been doing. So really, really entrenched in the community. And here in our community in Rhode Island, I would say we are really communicate, like engage with the community, because I am the assistant executive director of the organization. At the same time, I'm like coordinating with all the leaders, all the churches. So if you want to go to a church in Rhode Island, just call me. I'll tell you where to go, because I've been in contact with all the pastors in Rhode Island. Like this year, we organize the census. It's so important, the census. I coordinate with the organization to make sure every Haitian is counted in the census. So with the COVID, we part with other organizations to make sure that Haitian have some resources, and direct them where they have the resources, like food distribution, like PPE. And also, we have a program with our organization where our undocumented people, with a partnership with other organization, we give them $400 cash for relief. For this year, we distributed like over like almost 400 like $400, but like 500 people with $400. So it's a huge program we've been managed within the Haitian community, because this resources is for mostly, with the COVID, our undocumented people cannot receive federal or state aid. So this program will for them to make sure they have something with, the housing problem, everything, and they're already here. We need to take care of them. So we really involved in the Haitian community. Unfortunately, where I'm running, there is not a lot of Haitian. It's a white neighborhood. Really, I would say like 72% of the population are white where I am running, but our relationship with the Asian community is so strong, and the people, pastors, they call us all the time and take us, and like it's amazing. And so my Haitian Creole is really, really good. So I don't forget the thing. So yes, our relationship is wonderful.
Awesome. Erncy?
So we still try to keep a little discreet, but my great-grandfather, Lepe, rest in peace, he left us tons of acres back in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince, and just outside of Haiti. And knowing that my family was growing up here, I still needed to figure out how to pay it forward and help my community. So I got to give a shout out to Adrian March now. Over 10 years ago, he talked to us about prefab housing and self-sustainable housing, where we can build homes anywhere from 500 to 800 square feet for under $15,000. So, we started the project like that, and still trying to give back to the community. Unfortunately, we know after Aniece was whatever happened to Aniece, after that, you know, we've had some challenges with regards to the squatting laws. We had to build some walls to try to find ways to keep that property and give it back to the community. So we're still trying to do that and maybe donate some of the land. We still send money back, and I got to give a shout out to another friend, Jean Pierre. He owns an orphanage there, and you know, he helps out some of the kids, because we know there's a lot of kids that are displaced. Even though we are a great family in the community, there are things that we face that are still challenges when it comes to economic hardships in our home island. Domestically, you know, I found it really challenging to, well, not challenging. I was concerned because growing up in the U.S., I've learned a domestic way of saving. And I wanted to make sure culturally we understood the domestic way of saving outside of Susu. I know we love it, but I needed to make sure that we understood how to build wealth. So I spent a lot of time trying to teach financial literacy courses, how to build wealth, how to take pride in home ownership. And I know that we have this community feel in our households where, you know, it's not only that our mother, it's our grandmother lives there, you know, 3 generations sometimes in one household, but making them realize that this is an asset that they can help them with retirement as well. And not only that, just building their savings and net worth. So I spent a lot of time just trying to educate, you know, our community and how to build wealth, how to create economic viability, and really change their lives. From a career and professional perspective, I'm in the financial industry. I've attracted a lot of Haitian professionals into the financial industry, which is not something they felt like was attainable. But it's important that they understand that it is very attainable. We're not just laborers, we're professionals, and we don't just have to be nurses or doctors or attorneys, which are great professions, don't get me wrong, but there are other careers that we can take advantage of that are really economically viable and suitable for us as well. So I spent a lot of time doing that and just trying to educate folks that are in our community. One of the things that was a great surprise to me is in the city of Sunrise, the African-American population is 32%. And I would venture to say almost half of that is Haitian, which I was excited about. You know, when I was going door knocking, one of the houses I knocked on, they were like, "Vous voulez crémas?" I was like, it's 2:00 in the afternoon.
But your answer was yes.
Of course.
I do want
it. But it was awesome. So I'm excited because, you know, getting involved in this process, I realized how much of us in this community, and now I can have a profound impact in our community, and not just for Haitian Americans, but for everybody. But specifically for us, I feel like I can do a lot for us in teaching us how to grow our wealth and how to create opportunities from an employment perspective and take pride in our home ownership. We have great when we got here, you know, my grandmother bought a property for $40,000. That's my grandmother from my mother's side. My grandmother from my father's side bought a building in Brooklyn, New York for $167,000, which is worth significantly more now. So we are property owners. So we have to make sure that we take pride in our home ownership and realize how important that asset is. So I spent a lot of time trying to help educate our community and how successful we really can be. And it doesn't matter what our careers are, but realizing how important our economics are.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to touch on the fact that, you know, there'll be 3 generations in a household. I just want to mention that the food is typically better in those
Yes.
And like, there's not a day that you're like, oh, what am I gonna eat? Like, there's no, you save money on Uber Eats. So I just want to put that out there.
Yes.
You know? I guess I asked that, but I also care about myself.
I'm gonna go grab the bottle of cream out, but they're trying to feed me too. So you're right.
Stephanie?
Thank you. So growing up in Miami, I had the opportunity as a little girl traveling to Haiti. My father is from Port-de-Paix, but he grew up in Saint Louis. And my mom is from.
I was.
He brought it home. He brought it home. He brought it home.
Sure did. So yeah, Stephanie, your parents are from Port-de-Paix.
Yeah, the cremas got me.
Listen, that's just like, where's mine?
Okay.
He will send one to each of us. He cannot do that. He's gonna ship one to each of us here.
Yes. So, yes, going back to what I was saying, my father's from Port-de-Paix. He grew up in Saint Louis, and my mom is from Fort-de-Blanc. So growing up, I used to travel a lot to Haiti and see, you know, how the people, you know, how our families and our culture just, you know, uplifted me. And every summer I would go to Haiti and spend about 3 months there. So I learned a lot about our culture in Haiti, and I wasn't really able to help much there. But as a grown up, working for the city of North Miami, I had the opportunity to also go back to Haiti and help, in my capacity and outside of the city as well. In the States, my city, my district, we have this Little Haiti that's in our district, right? So there's a lot to do in Little Haiti. And one of the things I do is volunteer my time by providing services to the community, especially education and awareness. I attend Emmanuel Baptist Mission, and at that church, every Thursday we give out food to the needy. And that's one thing I do volunteer my time to do. And since the COVID, I've been everywhere. I've been in Midtown, I've been in Wynwood, Little Haiti, and various areas and neighborhoods in the district. So in that aspect, I have been very involved in the city. In addition to that, and back in 2001, when we had the first Haitian-American mayor working for the city of North Miami, I then started working for him in 2002. So you can imagine how many people flooded City Hall when they found out, our Haitian-American mayor is here to help us out. So throughout the span of my years at the city, almost 19 years, I have been helping people in every aspect of as you can imagine, with resources, putting on events, making sure that I keep engaged with the community. So people do know me, and I'm very grateful that they know me in that aspect, because I have always been giving back and I'm always there for them. And in addition to that, I was also, part of a Miss Haiti pageant years ago. So I've always been involved in the Haitian community, and that is my culture, that's in my life, that's in my blood. C'est pays moi.
That's amazing. So I'm sure that you all are somewhat aware that in about maybe 20 days or so, we have election day, which will probably end up becoming an election month, right? People are scared and people are very confused. So what are you doing to ensure that voters actually exercise their rights to vote, even in the midst of several pandemics, including, of course, COVID, but also a pandemic of just misinformation? And so we'll go ahead and start with you, Aniece.
This is a really difficult time. And one of the things I always say whenever I have a chance to talk to people is to make sure you have a power. And the power you have to make change, if you don't use it, and somebody gonna use it in one way or another, and it's not gonna help you. So we are in the election month election. It's crucial that every citizen, everyone get involved and vote. And that is a must, because our ancestors sacrificed their lives to get us this right. It's not something we take for granted. Yeah. So we need to exercise it. We need to make sure everybody register to vote. I am participating on many occasion to voter registration, and I never miss one opportunity to encourage people. I went to Selma 2 years ago and crossed the Petit's, how can I say the word, bridge, the Edmund Pettis Bridge, and that remind me the sacrifice that our ancestors did not long ago. And this year, for all women, Haitian women who are listening, who are watching, remember, this year we celebrate 100 years anniversary of women to have the right to vote. But we as Black women, we didn't have the right to vote. But we fought to have it. Now, please don't sit at home to say you're not interested. Do it for your son. Do it for your niece. Do it for your nephew, your brother, your sister. Do it for your community. It's a must. We cannot let it happen. We have to take this power and use it on our interests. So that's my message.
Thank you. Kassandra.
So I think normally during election time, everyone is excited. They have on their T-shirts, their yard sign, and voters are engaged. And so right now, to engage voters, I think we need to create some type of excitement and attract those who are trying to reach through creative experiences. So I'm doing a lot of Zooms. I'm going to be having a party at the polls on October 24th in North Miami. So definitely come out if any from North Miami and you're tuning in. But this is even more challenging given the circumstances. Many people are home right now trying to stay alive, trying to keep their job. They're afraid to go out to the polls because they might catch COVID. So there's so much to worry about. So the real question is, how do we engage the voters when they're living in fear and despair, or they just want to give up because 2020, as we know it, was the worst year ever? So we must instill hope and follow up with action. We are voting with hopes that things will change because they have to get better. We must remove those out of office and demand action from those who are to come. Make your agenda known and make it clear. And when they're asking for your vote, you hold them accountable at the poll. But be mindful, things do not change overnight. So after hope, you must believe that things will turn around for your good. Because I know they did for me. I didn't imagine that I would leave my job during a pandemic to run for office. And I did it so early because I wanted to engage voters about the process. I wanted to inform them why you should vote and why your vote matters, because every single vote matters, especially in Florida. There's a reason that every single president makes at least 10 visits to Florida during a presidential election year. So be mindful, Florida. Be mindful, Miami-Dade, Broward, West Palm Beach. I know Brenda Snipes got a lot of, a lot of attacks from the last governor's race. So be mindful. Everyone, every single vote matters. If you lost a loved one during COVID, if you were impacted by COVID, I know I was. Thank God I had mild symptoms, but you can't afford to sit this election out, because this is one of the most historic, this is one of the most heartfelt election, because people are voting with their hearts at the poll. So I encourage everyone to get out and vote this Sunday. I'll be doing a make your vote plan. Come to the polls with your pen, with your mask. Vote early. Know where to vote. Know where to see. Know where to check to see if your mail-in ballot was rejected. Because that's another thing. You can send in your ballot, but what happens if it was rejected and you now have to request an affidavit? So I am doing all the education that I can do right now to make sure that we vote, because we have to vote. Because literally right now, it's vote or die.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Stephanie.
Yes, thank you, Vanessa. So what I've been doing is going from door to door, in my neighborhood, and as well as other neighborhoods, to, speak and engage with voters to see, where they are as far as the voting cycle, making sure they have the absentee ballot, giving them the option of mailing early. And if not, they have the option of also dropping it off at the early voting site. And don't, and if they need transportation, I'm here to help them out whichever way I can. I've also, with the Democratic Haitian Caucus of Florida, I've made phone calls to different various residents and voters to let them know that, doing a wellness check on them, one, and two, to let them know that, November 3rd is voting, and early voting is around the corner as well, giving them information that they need and giving them an opportunity to ask questions, and I can answer them back. So listening, engaging, and also providing information and resources. So that's how I do that.
Erncy? Oh, did you get on mute?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, my dog was barking. But yeah, we're in the middle of a political cycle, so I'm not going to give away too much of my strategy. Play chess, not checkers. But we've been out a lot, right? So I'll tell you the thing that's been a little disappointing. There's two types of voters that I've been concerned with. We try to educate a lot of voters. The two types of voters I've been kind of concerned with is, the first one was that they're only focused on the general election. I asked them, who did you vote for in any municipal races or any other things to vote on within the community? And they said they Christmas tree the rest. So I think that was a big concern. So it's educating those voters and letting them know that it's not just the general election that's important, it's down ballot and everything else that happens in the community. If you don't like what's going on in the roads, you don't like the schools or the businesses that we're attracting, it's your local elected officials. So educating them. And then there's a third voter, which is the most concerning. And I'll show you something that nobody's seen yet, but you guys will see, but we've already distributed a lot of it. The third voter is, I'm not voting because I don't think it's going to matter, or it doesn't. That bothers me the most, because this is a right that we all fought for. Not just as women, but as African Americans. This is extremely important. You have to vote because it is your voice. Sometimes the squeaky wheels gets the most attention, and sometimes you look at municipal races when there's a community that has over 90,000 people and only 1,500 people vote. So what do you think those politicians have a tendency to do? Address what their concerns are, right? So what I've done is, you can see it now.
They think you won't vote. That's a good one.
So I've done I feel like me and my team have done a good job of activating voters, and not just mature voters, but younger voters, educating about the process and actually getting them involved. I'm proud to say that most of our volunteers are student volunteers. I think building that relationship early on with our municipality and in the elections and politics, it's extremely important, because I didn't have that experience when I was younger. So we're getting them engaged. We're talking to them about what not only our platform, what our opponents' platforms are, what's going on nationally, and how do you really make an impact and not just talk. And how do you really make an impact in your community? So I feel like we're doing a good job, but we could always do a lot better. But we try to get out there every day, and I'm proud of the volunteers that I have, and I'm proud of the fact that they're young individuals that are trying to get everyone activated.
Awesome. So we have 2 audience questions. Given the time, I'm going to split them up, right? So this first question is, do you have any advice to anyone who is considering running for political office? I will give that question to Aniece and Kassandra. So Aniece, you'll start.
Okay. First of all, when you have a project, when you have a will, when you think you can make the change, just go forward. Go forward. Don't let anything stop you, because you have a purpose, and everybody has a purpose. Your purpose to make a change, and you go forward. Like for myself, I don't speak English very well. I have accent, and you know what? I don't even care right now. So if I say something you don't get it, ask me a question and I repeat it again. So don't let any barrier stop you to reach your goal. So go for it, because you have a purpose. You have to make some changes, and no one will make the change for you. No one will represent your ideas the way you will represent it. No one will voice for you. If you're not at the table, they say you are at the menu. So go for it. Don't let anything stop you. Go, fonce. Allez, go.
Kassandra?
So I think the advice that I would give is to get involved, join a board, volunteer, show up at council meetings and community events, learn as much as you can, because knowing and being informed is half the battle. Know who your local elected officials are and make an impression, and make sure they know who you are. Find good mentors who are willing and able to help elevate you. Trust the process, believe in yourself, have faith, and run your race. Because for me, I tell everyone I am walking on water. So it is faith that's keeping me up right now, because at any moment it could be sink or swim. So definitely just run your race.
Awesome. And we do have a second question. And so I'll, of course, give that to Erncy and Stephanie. As up-and-coming Haitian-American candidates, did you experience, well, can't say guys, so do you experience a disconnect from older Haitian elected officials? So Erncy, go ahead and start.
So I think, initially, yes, you do. But I think if you really take the opportunity to understand their background and experiences, you have to remember that our older Haitian Americans or older Haitians, come from a different foundation and moral practices where they hold us to extremely high standards. And it's okay. We have to understand we're in a progressive society that has to kind of meet with them. So we have to listen a little bit more and try to be more compelling with our arguments or discussions. So there has been disconnect, but it's nothing that we can't overcome with education and really trying to connect. I think it's incumbent upon us as younger individuals to really take that time to really connect, understand, and respect our older Haitian Americans our older Haitian Americans, because they came here first and they paved the way from us. This country's evolving, and it is incumbent upon us to help them understand how it's evolving and how we can adapt and how we can progress together. So even though there may be a disconnect, if we really want to make a change, instead of looking at it as a big challenge and a wall that we can't overcome, it is our responsibility to help us overcome that and really connect and engage with them, because they are the foundation of why we are here, and we must respect that and appreciate that.
Awesome. Stephanie?
Yes, I definitely agree with you on that. I've worked with several older Haitian elected officials, and they are definitely one that you need to respect. You know, they are in the positions that they are because they're knowledgeable, they're wise, right? And in addition to that, just balancing, you know, the different diversity of elected officials is something that all of us need to do, right? From millennials to Gen X's to, you know, Gen Z's, all the way up to the older elected officials. So we have to learn to balance and just try to work together as one, as a unity, because if we don't, then where does the democracy stand with us, right? So it's a balancing stage, but it's doable.
Awesome. So we're now at the end. I just want to give you each 30 seconds to give your final thoughts to us. So we'll start the way we started. Okay. So we'll start with Aniece, Kassandra, Stephanie, and then Erncy.
Once again, I want to thank you, Vanessa, for giving me this opportunity and this platform. I really appreciate it, the work you're doing, and to uplift our Haitian American. So this is, keep going. It's great. Keep doing the work you're doing. It's really well appreciated. So I want to say that. And also, I would like to call on all our Haitian American, wherever you are in the United States. Please engage, please vote, please take the census. It's important to be counted, to be represented. Your voice matters, and they know it. So please use your voice wisely in this election. Vote for change, vote for our sons, our Black boys, vote for them, please. And for those who are in Rhode Island, who can vote for me in Ward 2, I would ask you, please don't stay home and vote on November 3rd to vote for Aniece Germain for City Council. And also, if you cannot vote for me, you can give a donation to my campaign at aniecegermain.com. And you can send a check at 63 Dale Avenue, Cranston, Rhode Island. And we need those support because election really costs money. And it's a grassroots fundraiser. So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for meeting you all. I hope we keep in contact and then we can talk once more again. Thank you so much. And thank you, and to all who are watching.
Thank you. Kassandra, 30 seconds.
I'll take 10. I just want to thank NAAHP tonight for this great forum. It's so important that we have it. Of course, my name is Cassandra Timothe. I am running for North Miami District 2 all the way next year in May, but I'm starting now because I just want to remind everyone to please vote, 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 vote. Thank you again.
Awesome. Stephanie?
Thank you, Vanessa, and everyone on this platform. I really learned a lot from you this evening. I am Stephanie Thomas, running for the City of Miami Commission District 5 seat. I am looking to be appointed at the next November 18th special council meeting. I ask you and urge you to please visit www.miami.gov to flood the city clerk's email to let them know that, you know, I am the one you are, the chosen. I feel that I have been the one that has been placed for this position. So I humbly ask that you do that. Again, my website, if I didn't give it earlier, is www.electstephaniethomas.com. And I look forward to engaging in conversation with anybody on our platform later on.
Awesome. And finally, Erncy.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, the NAAHP. This has been my most fun and enjoyable and the warmest forum I've had. I've been vulnerable. This hasn't happened. People haven't seen me show emotion, but I appreciate my Haitian sisters here today. You guys are all doing very well, very professional. I think we put on a great display of what we can do as a community, and I appreciate that. Again, I think it's really important as a community, we get out there and we activate, and we understand how important our voices and our vote is. And we have an opportunity to do something monumental and change the foundation of our country. And we have to realize that, respect that, and understand and appreciate that. So take this opportunity as a serious opportunity and moment in your life and vote. Not every 4 years, but every 2 years. Your municipal elections are probably the most important because that affects what your daily living is like. Again, my name is Erncy Dumornay. You can visit my website at www.dumornay.org. I appreciate the opportunity, and I love all you sisters. I appreciate it. This was fun. I'm going to have some cremas tonight.
No, you need to share some.
Don't forget the cremas. Voyez cremas pour nous.
All right. So before I let you all go, I want to remind you to please, please, please complete the 2020 census. The deadline is still around the corner, and you have to complete it by the end of the month. And to do so, please go to my2020census.gov. Make sure your friends, family, neighbors, and colleagues do so as well. But y'all, it is crunch time. So after that, we need to go and vote. And so encourage your friends and family to do the same. I challenge you all, I encourage you all to tell 20 of your friends to make a plan to get out and vote. We are in the middle of a pandemic, so I know that you have the time. Go to halfcoalition.org to register to vote today, request a vote by mail ballot, and complete your ballot. And then drop it off at an early voting location or at your supervisor of elections. Whatever your plan is, if it's to vote during early voting or to vote by mail, but drop it off and make sure it gets there. Or if you want to vote on election day, whatever it is, please just make a plan and get 20 of your friends to do the same. A huge thank you to our panelists for taking time out of their busy schedules to join us here. Could have been canvassing or phone banking, but you saw it fit and just to spend some time here with your people and to share your platforms. And for that, we appreciate you. Thank you to our sponsors, of course, Chocalela, my home team, my people, and the Haitian-American Voters Empowerment Have Coalition. Of course, another huge thank you to each and every single one of you who tuned in tonight to learn more about these candidates. It has been a pleasure to be here with you all tonight, and I'm excited to see you all again soon. I want to remind you all that there is another session happening next Friday, October 23rd, how your vote can impact policy. I don't think I'm the moderator for that, but I know it'll be amazing. I believe Karine Jean-Pierre and Karine Adoué are going to be on there, so it is going to be a great session. Thank you all once again, and have a blessed evening. See you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.